Our mash is still at 64 degrees, so that's doing nicely. Make sure those chemicals are mixed in. We are at 90 minutes. Step 5, remove the grains to a sieve. We always knew this was a bit tight. Here's the situation. So we've got our grains here, we've got our wort here, and we have our chocolate malt here. So step 6 is to add the chocolate malt to the grains and then cycle through the wort into the saucepan here. So we're just going to spread that around. So we are now on the sparge. This is step 9, and we're going to rinse the grains with sparge water while increasing the temperature. So I've got the temperature on there. Knocked out the gas again. Step 10, mash out at 75 degrees for 10 minutes. We have the cooker working again. So I'm just going to move that over. This is literally just coming to 75 degrees. We are nicely at 75 degrees, where we'll stay for 10 minutes before we move on to the boil. Step 11 is to dissolve 150 grams of DME into the wort. This stuff is so sticky. 10 minutes are up, so we now want to increase to the boil. We are just coming up to the boil. Step 12 is to take a sample, so we can do a pre-boil set of calculations. This time I'm going to actually remember that I can put this in my fridge to cool it down. Step 13 was to boil vigorously for 10 minutes. We can now bring this down to a rolling boil and also add our first hops. So we've got 3 hops going in, 2.3 grams each, and these are Magnum, Columbus and Chinook. Got to keep my strength up. Well, that 90-minute mash did go on for a long time. And this one is a long brew because in addition to the 60-minute boil, there was also a 10-minute mash out, there was a 10-minute boil vigorously, and there is also going to be a 30-minute hop stand. So this is a long brew. I'm having loads of fun. Cheers, everyone. This is our 5 grams of yeast ready to go. Now there is a further point of note on the yeast. For a 1 gallon brew, I've typically gone with around sort of 2.5 to 3 grams because that's actually quite enough for the small scale that I'm doing. Everything I've read and heard though for a sort of Imperial Russian Stout, is it's a tough old brew. So I am erring a little on the side of caution here. For no specific science behind it, we're going to go with 5 grams of the sort of Safe Ale US-05. It's a great yeast actually in terms of its optimum temperature, so it works pretty well in the sort of up to 25 degrees and optimum 15 to 22. We are 30 minutes into the boil and we have another hop addition. This time it's 1.6 grams each of the Columbus and the Magnum. We have 10 minutes left, so step number 16 is 5 grams of Irish moss. We're also going to do some yeast nutrients. So step 17 is to add 5 grams of DAP, which is this one, 5 grams of DAP, and also 5 grams of Fermentation. I've just bought this, finally got hold of some, so not something that you see very often in the UK. I've popped the thermometer on because we are going to do a hop stand, and so when we finish the boil I'm going to watch it drop to 80 degrees. We have reached the end of the boil. So step 8 is we're going to reduce the temperature down to 80 degrees, and then we will dissolve the DME and add some hop stand hops. Dissolve 350 grams of DME. So this is our hop stand. So we are also at 80 degrees going to add quite a big chunk of hops. 6.3 grams each of Centennial and Columbus. So these are all for flavouring and for aroma. So this is the bulk of our hops going in now. This is our pre-boil sample. Why did we stop on the wrong side? Pre-boil, we are 1060. Crikey. Preparing my chiller. Well, you know, sink. Step 21. Cool down to around 20 degrees. Well, the wort may have cooled now, but I'm certainly hot. So step number 22 is to first of all strain the hops, etc. out of the wort, and then we're going to add it to the fermenter. So I'm going to do this in 2 pieces because I've got the nylon bag inside the jug, and I can also then see exactly how much liquid I've got in here. Also, then I can take a reading before we move to the fermenter. Now, we are chasing an original gravity of around 1089. Now, because the gravity came out higher than expected, and because the volume is slightly lower than expected, and we are aiming for 5 litres, give or take, and we're at 4.5, I am going to add 400 millilitres of distilled water. I have my sanitised super spoon. Okay. (1096). Now that is closer to our target. Let's transfer to the fermenter. Wow, brew day is almost over, and we are now on our final 2 steps. The first of which is to pitch our yeast. So we've got 5 grams of US-05. I've got a dry funnel here just to help me. I did wait a few minutes, did a bit of washing up to just let some of that foam settle down. Our final step is to add our airlock. I never really knew about exactly how far to fill one of these up, and someone commented on one of my previous videos on how I was filling them up wrong. So actually you only need to fill the bottom bubble up on both sides. I'm just slightly over on that one, but fundamentally that's the fill line. So thank you very much for the comments and the feedback. Adding our airlock, and we are good to go. Brew day is over, and I think I'm going to find myself another drink.